Hello everyone. My greetings to one and all. This is the 17th session on developmental experience of India till 1990. In the previous session, you have learnt about problems faced by the industrial sector. I am Poonam Vohra from Egypt Economics Learning Center. This session focuses on industrial policy. To begin with, it's industrial policy resolutions that will be emphasized. Let us begin. Industrial policy refers to the strategies adopted by government for industrial development in the country. It comprises of Industrial Policy Resolution of 1948, which was modified in 1956, termed as Industrial Policy Resolution 1956. Then there was Industrial Licensing Policy and Import Licensing Policy under Industrial Development and Regulation Act of 1951. We shall try to understand all these one by one. Industrial Policy Resolution of 1948. It was the first policy of independent India. Its main focus was that the state must play an active role in the development of industries, with government stressing on the socialistic pattern of society. This policy remained in force for 8 years and it divided the industrial sector into 4 groups. Group 1 comprised of basic and strategic industries like arms and ammunition, atomic energy, railways, etc. These were in the exclusive monopoly of state. Group 2 comprised of key industries like coal, iron and steel, shipbuilding, manufacture of telegraph, telephone, mineral oils, etc. The state took over the exclusive responsibility of all future developments in these industries. Also, the existing industries were allowed to function for 10 years. After the end of the tenure, the state would review and take adequate decision. Group 3. A total number of 18 industries, including automobiles, tractors, machine tools, etc., where private sector was allowed to open industries subject to government regulation and control. Group 4. All the remaining industries were a part of this group. However, the government can participate or intervene if the need arises. IPR 1948 also emphasized the importance of small-scale and cottage industries in India. To implement IPR 48, government passed Industries Development and Regulation Act in 1951. Industrial Policy Resolution 1956 replaced Industrial Policy Resolution of 1948. There were 3 reasons for replacement. 1. Introduction of Constitution of India. 2. Adoption of planning system. And 3. The Parliament's declaration of adopting a socialistic pattern of society. The Industrial Policy of 1956 was an elaborate document and provided a comprehensive framework for industrial development in India. It was adopted in order to achieve the aim of socialistic state with government controlling the major strategic industries of the economy. IPR 56 adopted the classification of industries in 3 categories according to the degree of state ownership and participation in their development. Schedule A contained 17 industries which were to be an exclusive responsibility of the state. Schedule B contained 12 industries which were to be progressively state-owned, which would set up new enterprises, but in which private enterprises would be expected only to supplement the efforts of the state. And Schedule C comprises of all the remaining industries, and their future development would in general be left to the initiative and enterprises of the private sector. Though the major thrust area was to encourage the role of public sector in the process of growth and development on the socialistic pattern of society, it ensured a fair treatment to private sector. Accordingly, the state would strengthen financial institutions to extend financial assistance to private enterprises. It would also strengthen infrastructural power, transport, and so on to help private sector. IPR 56 also recognized the role of cottage and small-scale industries for making use of local manpower and resources, for generating employment opportunities, for having balanced regional development, and support such industries through tax concessions and subsidies. In order to promote balanced industrial growth among various regions, the policy stated that facilities for development will be made available to industrially backward regions. So, apart from setting up more public sector industries, incentives like tax concessions, subsidized loans would be given to private sector to start industries in the backward regions. The purpose was to reduce regional disparities. IPR 56 recognized the importance of foreign direct investment in the country's development. It's a complementary to domestic savings and provides more resources for investment and relieves some pressure on balance of payments. So the country welcomed the inflow of foreign capital if major share in control and management is in Indian hands. Not only that, IPR recognized the rapid industrialization would create demand for technical and managerial personnel. So it stressed the need to promote technical and managerial skill and emphasized the establishment of ITIs and introduced business management courses in universities. IPR 56 also recognized the role of labor, gave importance to industrial peace, and offered share to workers in the profit and management, better work environment and participation in the management. The workers should be progressively associated with management so that they are enthusiastically involved in the development process. So IPR 56 though provided a comprehensive framework for industrial development, but it was criticized on the ground that by expanding the field of public sector, it has reduced the area for private sector. Reducing private initiative may adversely affect the industrial growth of the country. Now assess yourself. A piece of information is given to you with certain blanks in it. At the same time, options are given. So you need to fill in the blanks by opting for the correct word. I'll read it for you. The Industrial Policy Resolution 1956 was adopted in order to be a mixed economy or socialistic state. According to this resolution, industries were classified into following 3 or 2 categories. Category 1 comprised of those industries that were owned exclusively by the private sector or the public sector. The government sector. The government had no control or had indirect control on the industries in the private sector. The government brought about a reduction in regional disparities in industrial development by keeping a check on the production of goods that are socially undesirable or through the tax exemptions. Now please check your answer. The Industrial Policy Resolution 1956 was adopted in order to be a socialistic state. According to this resolution, industries were classified into three categories. Category 1 comprised of those industries that were owned exclusively by the public sector. The government had indirect control on the industries in the private sector. The government brought about a reduction in regional disparities in industrial development through the tax exemptions. You need to keep reading the industrial sector's history to have a complete grasp over the problems and the policies faced by the industrial sector. Though it's quite simple. So keep reading. That is what I wanted to convey. With this, the session comes to an end. I hope you have understood the basis of today's industrial policies. The basis is to know about industrial policy resolutions. Keep reading more and more about it. As I just said, the next session focuses on licensing system as adopted in the country. Till then, keep preparing yourself. See you in the next session.